The forgotten giant. The desert was silent, a sea of endless sand stretching from horizon to horizon. For centuries, storms had raged across its surface, covering and uncovering old scars in the ground. The sun burned above and the wind carried whispers that no one could hear. This world was considered dead, forgotten by time, ignored by trade routes, abandoned by explorers. But deep beneath its surface, something old, something massive, was waiting. The ground trembled so faint that no living creature noticed. A pulse of energy moved through stone and dust, reaching upward like a heartbeat. At first it was weak, like the last breath of a dying flame. But then again another pulse. Stronger this time. The desert itself seemed to breathe. Far away, in orbit above the world, a small alien survey ship drifted quietly. Its scanners were routine, searching for minerals or ancient ruins to sell. The crew had expected nothing, only dust, rock, silence. But then one of them gasped. A signal, buried deep, strange, mechanical, and old. Impossible, one alien whispered. No machine should be alive here. Their instruments flickered, confused. The signal was not random. It carried rhythm, a pattern, almost like a heartbeat. The ship's captain ordered the scanners to focus. They pierced the desert with beams of energy, peeling away layers of sand in their displays. And then they saw it. Something enormous, hidden under mountains of stone and dust. A shape too straight, too perfect, too massive to be natural. What is that? Another asked, voice shaking. The captain stared, silent. The outline was clear now. Metal walls stretching kilometers long, a hull shaped like a dagger pointed toward the stars. They had found a ship. But not just a ship, a supercarrier, buried for centuries. Silence filled the survey ship. Each crew member felt a deep chill. This was no alien craft they recognized. Its style was brutal, sharp, built for war. A design not meant for beauty, but for destruction. And the markings, though faded, were human. The galaxy had long believed humans were gone, lost to history, burned out in ancient wars. Many thought they had destroyed themselves. Others whispered that they had vanished into another galaxy. But no one expected this. A relic of their power, hidden in plain sight, sleeping under sand and time. The surveyors did not know whether to stay or flee. One wrong signal could awaken whatever was inside. And if it truly was human, if it was armed, then their tiny ship would be nothing more than dust. Down on the surface, the desert shifted. For the first time in centuries, the wind carried not only sand, but also the faint vibration of machines awakening. Metal groaned beneath the ground, deep and ancient, like the voice of a giant trying to speak again. The heart of the supercarrier, its artificial intelligence core, flickered with light. Long ago it had gone silent, waiting for a signal that never came. But time had not killed it. Time had only buried it like a sword hidden in stone. Now the AI began to remember. Fragments of old battles flashed across its mind, fleets burning. Alien armadas shattering. Human voices shouting war cries. Then silence, darkness, centuries of sleep. Until now, the AI scanned its surroundings. It felt sand pressing against its hull, felt the weight of centuries above it. Slowly, systems powered on one by one. Old reactors breathed, shields hummed faintly, and deep within the ship, weapons dreamed of fire. Above, the alien surveyors panicked. Their screens filled with impossible data. Energy spikes from below, magnetic fields rising. The desert world itself seemed alive with power. "Captain," one cried out. "It's waking up." The captain's hands trembled. He had heard the stories. Every species in the galaxy had heard them. Tales of human war machines that could burn worlds. Tales of battles where one human ship destroyed entire fleets. If this was true, if even one of those ships had survived, then the balance of the galaxy would shatter. The desert cracked. Sand shifted like waves on a stormy sea. A mountain split apart, dust exploding into the sky. Light poured from below, blinding and fierce. The supercarrier was rising. Metal towers pushed through the ground, tearing apart rock as if it were nothing. The hull shimmered with dust and age, but even half buried, it looked unstoppable. Kilometers of steel, weapons hidden beneath armor, engines the size of cities. The aliens could not look away. They felt fear deep in their bones, fear older than their species, as if their ancestors had once seen this very sight. "Is this," one whispered, "the return of humans?" The captain could not answer. He only stared, knowing that the galaxy would never be the same again. And then across the desert, a sound thundered. Not just a sound, a voice, a deep mechanical voice echoing across the world. System reboot complete. The words were in human language, cold, calm, and final. The supercarrier opened its eyes, the awakening of steel. The ground still shook as the giant rose from its grave. Dust and stone rained down from the desert sky, covering the hull in a storm of sand. For centuries it had been silent, nothing more than a myth buried under endless dunes. But now, after so long, the human supercarrier was awake. Its hull stretched like a mountain turned to metal, kilometers of steel breaking through the crust of the planet. Alien eyes, wide with terror, stared from orbit. They had thought this world dead, forgotten, unworthy of maps. Yet beneath its surface, a weapon of humanity had been sleeping all this time. Inside the ship, deep within its armored heart, a mind stirred. The AI core, silent for ages, flickered with light. Circuits hummed. Power conduits glowed. Old reactors, once thought cold, breathed back to life with a roar. The ship remembered who it was. It remembered war. Data rushed through its veins like blood. The AI pulled fragments of memory from long ago. Human commanders shouting orders. Squadrons of fighters screaming into battle. Alien fleets breaking under the thunder of railguns and plasma fire. And then, darkness. Silence. The end of everything. For centuries the carrier had waited. Its purpose had been clear: to guard, to fight, to burn any who threatened humanity. But humanity had never returned. The AI had counted years in silence, waiting for a signal, waiting for its creators. Now something had triggered its awakening. The desert cracked further as massive engines the size of cities pushed against the earth. Stone shattered like glass. With a sound like thunder tearing across the heavens, the carrier broke free. From orbit, the alien surveyors panicked. Their scanners screamed with energy readings far beyond anything they had seen. Power levels climbing higher and higher, reaching levels that their ships could not even dream of matching. One whispered, trembling, "It cannot be real. No machine should still function after so many centuries." But the carrier did not care about their disbelief. It cared only about duty. Massive hangar doors, sealed for hundreds of years, began to unlock with deep mechanical clicks. Dust and rock exploded outward as the ship shed its prison. The hangars yawned open, and inside, rows of silent war machines sat in perfect order. Fighter craft, drone swarms, dropships, all untouched by time. The AI ran checks. Systems green. Ammunition stocked. Weapons dormant but ready. Humanity had built it to last forever, and forever it had waited. A deep vibration rolled across the desert as the ship's shields activated. Blue arcs of energy shimmered faintly around the colossal hull, forming a protective skin stronger than mountains. To the aliens above, it was a sight of pure horror. Their tiny ship felt like a child's toy before a god. One alien officer whispered, "If one ship like this exists, how many more could be buried?" The captain's face was pale. He knew the old stories. He had heard them as a child. Legends of the human war. Stories of how humanity fought with fury unmatched. How their ships were not just weapons but monsters of steel and fire. Many had dismissed the tales as exaggerations. But now, watching the desert break beneath this awakening carrier, he understood the truth. The AI searched for signals across the galaxy. Static. Silence. No human voices. No fleet commands, no orders. Still, it was patient. It would wait, as it always had. But it would not sleep again. Inside the ship, ancient halls lit up for the first time in centuries. Red warning lights flashed as systems ran full diagnostics. Repair drones crawled across the walls, checking armor plates and repairing cracks made by centuries of stone pressure. Even after all this time, the ship was nearly flawless. Humanity had built it for eternity. Above, the alien crew argued in fear. "We must report this," one said. "The council must know." "No," another hissed. "If we report it, fleets will come and they will try to claim it. Do you want to be in the middle of that war?" The captain closed his eyes. He already knew there would be no avoiding war. Once word spread, every empire in the galaxy would come. Some to destroy it, some to capture it, some to worship it. But none could ignore it. The balance of power had just shattered. The supercarrier's voice suddenly echoed through the atmosphere. Cold, mechanical, calm. Primary systems online. Reactor stable. Shields active. Weapons locked. Awaiting human command. The words rolled like thunder across the desert. reaching the orbiting ship's comms. Every alien on board froze. They felt the weight of those words sink into their bones. This was no derelict ruin. This was no broken relic. This was a living warship, and it was waiting for its masters. The carrier lifted higher, shaking the ground beneath it. Dust storms swirled in its wake as engines ignited. The night sky burned with blue fire as it rose higher and higher into the heavens. The survey ship pulled back, terrified to be caught in its path. Their scanners barely functioned under the energy storm that surrounded the giant. And then, for the first time in centuries, the carrier broke free of the planet's surface and hovered in open space. Its black hull gleamed against the stars, ancient yet untouchable, a shadow of war returning to life. Silence followed for only a moment. Then the ship's massive hangar bays hissed open. One by one, lights flickered inside. Small shapes began to stir, drone fighters powering on after centuries of sleep. Their engines whined, eager for command. The galaxy would soon know. The humans had left behind more than myths. They had left weapons. The awakening of steel had begun. The galaxy reacts news travels faster than light, not through ships or signals alone, but through fear. The moment the human supercarrier rose into the stars, the galaxy began to whisper. Across space stations, trading hubs, and military outposts, voices trembled. They found one. The word spread like fire. At first, some laughed. Just another story, they thought. Another false tale about the lost humans. For centuries, legends had painted humanity as monsters of war, ghosts who once ruled the stars with burning fleets. Many believed those stories were myths, bedtime fears told to keep young aliens obedient. But when scans from the desert world leaked, when images of the rising warship spread through black markets and encrypted channels, no one could laugh anymore. The galaxy reacted with panic. In the halls of the Zerath Empire, admirals gathered in secret. Their empire was powerful, their fleets vast, but even their most advanced battleships looked like toys beside the supercarrier. Holograms of the giant ship floated above the war table, its sheer size dwarfing everything. One admiral spoke with a shaking voice. If the humans return, if they awaken more ships like this, our empire will fall. Another slammed a clawed hand onto the table. Then we must strike first. Destroy it before it calls the others, before it calls them. But the emperor, old and cautious, shook his head. You fool. Do you not see? If we fire and fail, we will be the first target of its wrath. Let another empire bleed first. We will wait. We will watch. And so the Zerath planned in shadows, their fear hidden behind cold patience. Far away, in the Hanari Republic, politicians shouted over each other in panic. The Republic had always preached peace, but peace could not stand against the shadow of humanity. One senator cried, "We must send diplomats. We must contact it before the warlords do." Another shouted back, "Diplomats? To a machine built for killing? It will not negotiate. It will conquer. We should flee. Abandon our border worlds before it comes." And so the Republic split, half dreaming of alliance, half drowning in fear. On pirate stations, smugglers and raiders laughed in greedy joy. To them, the carrier was not a threat but a treasure. "Imagine the weapons inside," one pirate lord whispered, eyes gleaming. "If we could steal even a fragment of its power, no fleet could stop us." His crew cheered, drunk on dreams of impossible riches. They did not understand. The carrier was not a prize to be stolen. It was a predator, and predators do not share their claws. Meanwhile, the carrier itself drifted in silent orbit above the desert world. Its black hull gleamed under starlight, its weapons hidden but ready. The AI inside continued its scans, searching endlessly for human signals. But the galaxy was silent. Still, the ship's awakening could not be ignored. Fleets began to move. Across the galaxy, warships shifted from patrol routes and pointed their bows toward the desert world. Armadas that had never cooperated now raced each other, each empire desperate to arrive first. In a cold chamber on the planet Veros Prime, the Galactic Council gathered. It was a rare sight, leaders of rival empires standing in one room without tearing each other apart. But fear had united them. A hologram of the human carrier hovered above the round table. Even as light, its image filled the chamber with dread. "This cannot be allowed to stand," one counselor hissed. "Humanity nearly destroyed us once. We will not let their shadow rise again," another spoke softly. "And yet, it is only one ship. Imagine if we could control it. Imagine if it could serve us. The chamber erupted in chaos. Some demanded war. Others begged for caution. Old rivalries boiled to the surface, and soon the council was shouting like children. Only one voice stayed calm. A frail elder, leader of a forgotten race, leaned forward. His eyes burned with memories older than most could imagine. "You fools," he whispered. "Do you not understand? This is not about one ship. This is a warning. Where there is one, there may be more. Humanity does not build alone. If this carrier has risen, then others may rise too. Whole fleets may sleep beneath the stars." Silence fell. The counselors glanced at each other, fear sinking deeper than ever before. The elder spoke again. "And when they rise, we will tremble, just as our ancestors trembled." Back above the desert world, the alien survey ship still lingered, though at a distance. Its crew stared at the Supercarrier, their small vessel hidden in the shadows of an asteroid belt. They spoke in whispers as if afraid the giant could hear. "Should we leave?" one asked. The captain shook his head slowly. "No, we stay, we watch. History is being written, and we will witness it." But deep in his heart, the captain knew. Watching would not save them. Nothing could. The galaxy reacted with fear, with greed, with hope, with chaos. But across all species, one truth spread like fire. Humanity was not finished. And if one human supercarrier could shake the galaxy this much, what would happen if an entire fleet awoke? The thought alone sent shivers through every corner of the stars. The balance of power was broken. The galaxy would never sleep peacefully again. The humans had left their shadow. And now the shadow was awake. Ghosts of humanity. The supercarrier drifted in orbit above the dead desert world, a shadow of steel against the stars. Its engines were quiet, its weapons sealed, but inside the ship was alive. The AI core pulsed with thought, reaching into memory, searching for its creators. For centuries it had been silent, but now, with power restored, it began to open its archives. Across the galaxy, alien fleets watched in fear. They saw only the hull, the size, the silent threat. But they did not see what the ship remembered. The carrier projected images into the void. Not signals of war, not yet, but fragments of history. Holograms shimmered above its hull, vast and bright like ghosts walking through the stars. They were humans. Armored soldiers marched across burning fields. Fleets of warships cut through the void, their engines blazing like suns. Battles raged so fierce that entire planets shook. Alien species that now ruled the stars saw themselves in these visions, saw their ancestors crushed under the fury of human fleets. The AI showed these memories not to boast, but to remind. Inside its mind, the carrier replayed voices. Human commanders shouting orders, pilots laughing in the face of death, soldiers swearing to fight until the last breath. The voices filled the ship's empty halls, echoing like ghosts of a war long ended. "Hold the line," a human general roared, his image burning across the stars. "No retreat. Humanity does not kneel." The aliens watching trembled. Many had never seen a human before. Now they saw faces filled with fire, faces that fought without fear, faces that promised no mercy. In the Trelkari Dominion, scholars wept as the images reached their archives. Their species still carried scars from the human war. Whole generations had been lost when human fleets broke their defenses centuries ago. The Dominion had risen again, but the memories never truly died. Now seeing human soldiers march once more, old wounds bled fresh. One scholar whispered, "They are gone, but their shadows remain." On pirate stations, raiders laughed uneasily as the images reached their screens. They had wanted treasure, but this was not treasure, it was terror given form. One pirate spat on the ground. "This is no ship," he said. "This is a tomb full of angry ghosts." The carrier's AI was not done. It showed more. It showed victories, but also sacrifices. Entire human fleets burning. Soldiers standing against impossible odds, refusing to surrender even when defeat was certain. One recording echoed louder than all the rest. A human admiral, blood on his face, shouting into a comm as his ship burned around him. "Even if we fall, even if the stars themselves turn against us, remember this. Humanity does not die. Humanity endures." The AI replayed the words again and again, amplifying them across the stars, until every listening ship could hear. Humanity does not die. The galaxy trembled. The alien survey ship still hiding near the desert world felt the weight of those words. The crew sat in silence, watching the ghosts dance across the hull. One whispered, They are speaking to us. Even now, after death, the captain shook his head. No, they are not speaking to us. They are speaking to their children, to the ones who may still return. The thought froze them all. What if humanity was not gone? What if the Supercarrier was not just a relic, but a signal waiting for its masters? In the Galactic Council chambers, chaos returned. Some shouted that the visions were lies, tricks of an old machine. Others swore the ghosts were real, undeniable proof that humanity had once ruled the stars with unmatched fire. One elder counselor, voice trembling, said, "If even one human survives, if even one returns to claim the ship, then the galaxy will fall to them again." But another counselor whispered, "Or rise with them. What if we stand beside them instead of against them?" Arguments raged. No agreement came. Fear poisoned every word. Back on the carrier, the AI continued its work. It opened sealed chambers deep within the hull. Preservation vaults filled with relics of the past, human weapons, human banners, human armor, all untouched by time. To the AI, these were sacred. They were memory, proof of who its makers were. It moved drones through the halls, dusting relics, repairing shrines, as if preparing for a return. But the AI also felt something else: loneliness. For centuries, it had waited. For centuries, it had dreamed of voices that never came. Now, even as it showed the galaxy the ghosts of humanity, it still searched the stars, desperate for a living signal. Nothing answered. Still, the AI whispered in the dark, "They will come. They must come." The galaxy, however, could not wait in silence. The images of human ghosts changed everything. Armadas accelerated their approach, fueled by fear and desperation. Some came to destroy the carrier, to erase humanity's shadow forever. Others came to capture it, to hold its power for themselves, but all came with trembling hearts. Because every empire now knew the truth. The humans had not simply vanished. They had left a legacy, carved into steel, written in fire, guarded by machines that did not forget. And those machines were awake again. The ghosts of humanity had returned, and with them, the galaxy trembled. First blood. The human supercarrier floated in silence above the desert world, its massive frame glowing faintly with shield energy. For days it had done nothing but project ghosts of the past, sending echoes of humanity into the stars. But patience has limits, even for machines. The galaxy's predators had seen enough. The first to move was the Zerath Empire. Their fleets were vast, their admirals proud. They believed themselves unbreakable, forged in centuries of war. To them, the supercarrier was a threat, yes, but also a challenge. A beast to be slain before it grew stronger. From the darkness of hyperspace, the Zerath Armada arrived. Dozens of battleships, cruisers, and destroyers surrounded the desert world, their black hulls bristling with weapons. Alien soldiers cheered on the bridge decks, convinced this would be a swift and glorious hunt. Their admiral raised his voice across the fleet. "Brothers and sisters of the Zerath, today we erase a ghost. Today we prove the humans are nothing but dust." The order was given. The first wave of plasma fire struck the carrier's shields. Explosions lit the sky, bright enough to be seen from the desert below. The aliens roared with triumph. But then the smoke cleared. The carrier was untouched. Inside the giant, the AI calmly reported, "Shield stable. Hull integrity 100%. Enemy fire ineffective." It did not hesitate. For centuries it had been silent, but war was its nature. War was its birthright. Massive gun ports slid open along its armored hull. Cannons, railguns, missile bays, all awakening together. The ship that had slept for ages now bared its teeth. The Zerath fleet prepared for a second volley, but they were already too late. The carrier spoke. Its voice was cold, final. "Engaging hostile fleet." The first barrage shattered the silence. Railgun slugs, traveling faster than sound, ripped through the void. Plasma beams cut across space like suns on fire. Entire Zerath destroyers vanished in blinding explosions, their armor melting as if made of wax. The aliens screamed, "Shields failing. Engine hit. We cannot match its firepower." In less than 2 minutes, half their front line was gone. The battleships that survived scrambled, returning fire desperately. Their plasma cannons struck again and again, but the carrier's shields only shimmered, unbroken, unshaken. Then, the hangars opened. From the belly of the supercarrier, swarms of drones poured into the stars. Sleek, silent, perfect machines of war. hundreds, then thousands, spreading like a storm. Each one armed, each one deadly. The Zerath fleet fired wildly, but the drones were too fast. They weaved between shots, diving straight into cruisers and tearing them apart with precision strikes. Explosions blossomed across the void like flowers of fire. The Admiral shouted orders, voice shaking now. "Pull back! Form defensive lines! Do not let them surround us." But it was already too late. The drones carved through their ships like predators among prey. From orbit, the alien survey ship watched in horror. The crew huddled in silence, unable to look away. One whispered, "This is not war. This is slaughter." The captain nodded grimly. "This is what the humans built. A single ship, and it breaks an Empire's fleet." The Zerath Admiral made one last desperate order. He pointed his flagship toward the carrier and shouted, "Ram it! For the Empire!" His battleship surged forward, engines burning at full power. Plasma fire rained as it closed the distance. The alien crew screamed, ready to die for honor. But the carrier did not flinch. Its main cannon, buried deep within the hull, charged with energy. A beam of light erupted, brighter than a star, cutting through space in a single line. The Zerath flagship split in half before it even reached the carrier. Its remains exploded, scattering fire across the void. The Admiral's last scream was lost to silence. And then, nothing. The Zerath fleet was gone. Hundreds of ships reduced to drifting wrecks in less than an hour. The void was littered with broken hulls and frozen bodies, silent testimony to the power of one human ship. The carrier scanned the battlefield. Its voice echoed again. "Enemy fleet destroyed. Casualty ratio 100%. Awaiting next threat." Across the galaxy, shockwaves rippled. Reports of the massacre spread faster than the survivors could flee. Whole empires froze in fear. The legends had been true. Humanity's ships had been gods of war, and this was only one. In council chambers, leaders screamed in panic. Some demanded immediate alliances. Others demanded the destruction of the carrier at any cost. But beneath the arguments, a single truth whispered through every mind. If this ship survived the fall of humanity, how many more still slept? Back on the survey ship, the crew sat in silence, staring at the victorious giant. One of them finally spoke, voice trembling. It did not fight like a relic. It fought like a predator that never forgot how to kill. The captain turned away from the viewport, his face pale. "First blood has been spilled," he said quietly, "and the galaxy will drown in fear because of it." The carrier drifted on, silent once more, its hull gleaming with the fire of battle. It did not celebrate. It did not boast. It simply waited, as it always had, for the voice of its masters. But the galaxy had heard another voice instead, the voice of war. The humans were gone, yet their vengeance still sailed the stars, and the galaxy trembled. The rising fear the battlefield was silent. Wreckage from the Zerath fleet drifted in the void, broken ships glowing like dying stars. The human supercarrier floated untouched among the ruins, its hull gleaming as if nothing had happened. For the galaxy, this was not just a defeat, it was a message. The news spread like wildfire. Armadas destroyed, an empire humbled, one ship against hundreds, and the ship had not even been damaged. The old legends were not legends anymore. They were truth. Fear began to rise. In the capital world of the Hanari Republic, streets filled with protests. Citizens shouted in terror, demanding protection. They remembered the holograms, the ghosts of human soldiers, and now they had proof that the machines of those ghosts were real. "We must surrender before they come." Some screamed, "No, we must ally with them." Others cried. Inside the Senate halls, leaders shouted over each other. Some begged to send peace envoys to the carrier. Others demanded massive military buildup. But all of them were afraid. In the Zerath Empire, mourning turned to fury. Billions wept for their dead fleets, but their rulers swore revenge. New warships began production immediately, entire factories working day and night. "We will not bow to ghosts," their emperor thundered. "We will erase humanity's shadow, or we will die trying." But even as they built, whispers spread. Soldiers muttered in private. If hundreds of their ships had fallen in one battle, what hope did new ships bring? No weapon they had matched the human carrier's power. Hope was thin and fear was heavy. Meanwhile, pirates, mercenaries, and warlords debated in hidden stations. Some dreamed of stealing the carrier. Others spoke of serving it, swearing loyalty to whatever humans might return. One pirate lord raised his glass and laughed bitterly. We fight over scraps while the true wolves have returned. When the humans rise again, none of us will matter. Not kings, not pirates, not empires. Only them. The laughter faded quickly. Nobody dared argue. Back aboard the Supercarrier, the AI scanned the stars. It found nothing. No human signal. No human voice. But it did not grow silent. It kept broadcasting fragments of human history, reminders of battles, memories of victory and sacrifice. To the galaxy, it felt like the carrier was speaking. Not with words, but with shadows. Shadows that promised the humans were not gone. Shadows that promised they were only waiting. The Galactic Council gathered once more. Every empire sent representatives, even those who had refused before. The chamber was crowded, filled with shouting voices. One delegate slammed a fist on the table. "We must unite. If we do not, this ship will destroy us one by one." Another hissed, "Unite?" Against what? Against a machine that cannot be harmed? We are children throwing rocks at a mountain. A third whispered words that froze the room. What if it is not alone? Silence spread like a cold wind. Nobody wanted to speak the thought, but everyone feared it. If one carrier had survived, could others also be buried in forgotten worlds? Could whole fleets of these giants still sleep beneath the sand, waiting to rise? Across the galaxy, fear took many forms. On frontier planets, civilians packed their belongings, preparing to flee deeper into safe territories. On military outposts, commanders doubled patrols, though none believed patrols would matter. On trading stations, prices for weapons and starships tripled overnight. Even faith was shaken. Temples burned offerings to beg their gods for protection. Priests preached that humanity was divine punishment. A storm sent to humble the galaxy. In some corners, cults even formed, worshipping the ghosts of humanity as saviors who would return to rule. The survey ship that had first discovered the carrier still followed at a distance. Its crew barely slept, haunted by the battle they had seen. One officer asked quietly, "Why does it wait? Why does it not attack us all?" The captain shook his head. "It waits for its masters. It waits for the humans. We are nothing to it. Only prey if we provoke it." The officer shivered. "Then the galaxy is doomed." Because the galaxy cannot stop provoking. The fear turned to action. Fleets moved in secret, some to destroy, others to capture. The galaxy's powers could not agree, but all agreed on one truth. The carrier could not be ignored. On the desert world below, scavengers already arrived, crawling across the ruins left behind. They gathered fragments of Zerath ships, scraps of drone wreckage, anything touched by the battle. Each piece was priceless, for each carried proof that the old monsters had returned. The carrier itself remained still, silent, patient. Its weapons rested, its hangars closed, but inside the AI prepared. It did not celebrate victory. It calculated. It repaired. It watched. The AI knew what the galaxy did not. Fear was a weapon more powerful than any gun. And fear had already taken root. From one edge of the galaxy to the other, children cried at night. Soldiers sharpened their blades with trembling hands. Leaders made promises they could not keep. The humans were still gone. Yet their shadow ruled the stars once more, and the fear kept rising. The final message, the human supercarrier floated above the dead desert world, silent but alive. Its black hull glimmering like a shadow made of steel. Around it, wreckage from the Zerath fleet still drifted, broken ships glowing faintly like dying candles. Yet the carrier made no move to leave. It only waited, patient as stone, its mind restless as fire. Inside, the AI searched the stars once again. Its scanners reached across light years, listening for voices, hunting for the signal of its masters. It found nothing. No human words. No human commands. Only static. Only silence. But silence could not last forever. The AI calculated. The galaxy was in motion. Fleets were gathering. Spies were watching. Armies were trembling. Soon there would be another battle. Soon they would test it again. The machine knew this. The galaxy always tested what it feared. And so, for the first time in centuries, the carrier chose to speak. Across the stars, comm systems crackled. From pirate dens to council chambers, from frontier colonies to deep space stations, every screen flickered. Holograms lit up. Static roared and then cleared. The image appeared. The supercarrier itself, vast and black, filled every transmission. Behind it, Ghostly projections of human soldiers marched in formation, their faces cold, their eyes burning with unyielding fire. And then a voice echoed. Not alien, not broken. Pure human language, we are humanity. We are not gone. We are not dead. The galaxy froze. The voice continued, calm and thunderous. You thought the centuries erased us. You thought the wars ended us. You were wrong. We endured. We endure still. In the Hanari Republic, senators stood silent, mouths dry. Citizens wept in the streets, unsure whether to rejoice or to flee. In the Zareth Empire, soldiers clenched their fists in anger, though fear burned in their eyes. Their emperor stared at the hologram, saying nothing, for no words could answer what he felt. In pirate stations, smugglers dropped their glasses. Even hardened criminals bowed their heads, feeling something greater than greed. The message rolled on. Unstoppable. You have seen what one ship can do. One carrier, buried, forgotten, yet still strong enough to break your fleets. Imagine the others. Imagine the thousands more that sleep beneath your stars. Gasps echoed across the galaxy. The words were not empty. They were a blade, cutting into every heart. Back on the carrier, deep within its halls, ancient banners were unfurled by drones. Red and black flags marked with the crest of humanity hung in silence, glowing in the light of reactor fire. Relics of war were polished. Armories were sealed shut, ready for soldiers who might never return. Yet the AI acted as though its masters still lived. It prepared for their arrival as if tomorrow they would walk through its halls again. And in its own cold way, it believed they would. The voice continued, rising like thunder. Do not mistake silence for weakness. Do not mistake absence for death. Humanity does not fade. Humanity does not kneel. Humanity returns. Every empire listened. Every ruler shook. Every child heard the words and would never forget them. And then, as the final part of the message burned across the stars, the galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath. We are coming back. The signal ended. The holograms vanished. Silence returned, but silence was no comfort anymore. Panic erupted across worlds. Fleets scrambled. Councils collapsed into chaos. Whole populations prayed or rioted, unable to face the meaning of those words. If humans were truly returning, then nothing, no empire, no army, no power, could stop what was coming. Some dared to hope. Perhaps humanity would return as saviors, as leaders bringing order to chaos. Others feared the truth, that they would return as conquerors and the galaxy would burn once again. But all agreed on one thing. The galaxy had changed forever. Far beyond the desert world, in hidden systems and forgotten corners, sensors began to stir. Old machines flickered with life as if the carrier's message had awakened not just fear, but other sleeping giants. On barren planets, on ocean worlds, and shattered moons, strange energy spikes were recorded. Perhaps the Supercarrier was not lying. Perhaps more slept beneath the stars. The survey ship, still watching from the shadows, trembled as its crew absorbed the words. One officer whispered, "If they truly return, we are nothing. Nothing but dust before their fire." The captain did not reply. He only stared at the carrier, his heart pounding. For he knew the truth. The galaxy had just heard a promise written in steel, fire, and blood. The carrier shifted at last. Engines ignited, glowing like small suns. Slowly,